In 3, 2.
Dan, first off, our sympathies are with you on the loss of your mother. Everyone down here wondering how you're doing.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate that from your thoughts and the thoughts of the many, many people that I've heard from on the ground. I'm doing fine, thank you. All things considered, of course, I'd love to be with my family, but I've been able to talk to them virtually every day and video conference with them. And all things considered, thank you. I'm doing very well.
I know you sent a video message back down for her memorial service, and you have said that at 90 years old, your mother was in her prime, that she was your hero. What can you tell us about her this morning?
She was amazing. People who met her would hardly think she was about 65 or 70, much less 90. She was always crouching down and getting on her hands and knees with my daughters and her other grandchildren. She would play baseball with us at the 4th of July picnic that we always had at her house. She'd slide down the slides. She was incredibly active and vibrant, and a great example of dignity and somebody who's aging well, because fortunately her body and her mind were able to keep up with her. So she was a fantastic woman, and of course we'll miss her.
I know that before all of you go up in space that you are asked by NASA whether or not you want to be informed of bad news, of personal loss back here on Earth that might take place while you're up in space. How do you go about making that decision?
Well, that was a very easy decision for me, and I think probably most of us. I can't imagine not knowing of tragic or exciting news that's happening on the ground, especially in this day and age with all the communication we have with the ground, phone calls that we can make, and the daily news pressing clippings that we get every day. So, you know, I don't think anybody wants to be the last to know some big news like this, and I think virtually everybody probably chooses to want to know everything as soon as possible.
Dan, I was reading when you were a kid, your mother always encouraged you to get good grades, but not to get a swelled head. So, Commander Whitson, this is where you come in, and you can be the standard bearer on that. How's he doing up there? No swelled head?
Dan's been doing a great job, and I've actually had a great time working with him. Dan and I, of course, have trained together for a few years and then worked together many years before that. So it's been a great time up here on orbit, and we've had a really exciting mission so far, and looking forward to finishing it off on a high note.
Commander, I know you're making history yourself leading that unit, and how do you go about preparing for personal loss on a mission? I know that you have been there for Dan, and the rest of the team has as well. How does one prepare themselves to help out a fellow astronaut in a time like this?
Well, it's interesting. I hadn't really planned on it, but I got a lot of support from the guys on the ground. Our psychological support group sent me up suggestions and helpful hints. We had talked about some generically, of course, before flight, but it was helpful to get their suggestions and encouragement after the tragedy of Dan's mom.
I know you've all kept busy and have tried to lighten things up for Dan. So with New Year's Eve here, what do you do in space? I mean, do you have a party planned?
We're going to dance tonight. How's that sound? I don't have a black gown, though, unfortunately.
And I don't know how you dance in space. I guess there's some floating going on there with your dance moves. How does Earth look this New Year's Eve?
It's beautiful as always. It actually the views actually aren't quite as crystal clear as sometimes they are. We're at a very high beta angle, and so it depends very much on timing of day when we get the best views. But we are, as always, enjoy looking out the window and seeing how beautiful it can be. And even just before this press event, we were setting up for the next activity and looking out the window saying, hey, what's that? I've never seen that before. And so, you know, it's still a great place to look.
Dan, you have such a unique perspective, some 220 miles above Earth. So I guess I would ask what you hope for in 2008. What's your view for the year ahead?
Well, Derek, metaphorically, the world can always use more peace, and we're reading and hearing about a great turmoil all around the world, and that's upsetting for me personally. From this perspective, 200 miles away, the Earth is so beautiful, and the boundaries that we see are natural boundaries. They're mountains and rivers and continents, and all of them are beautiful. And we don't see, fortunately for us, political boundaries or religious or other kind of boundaries that divide people. And you wonder how people that live in that beautiful part of the world, and then right next to them, right across the mountains in that part of the world, can't get along, and you wonder why that is. And this offers a beautiful perspective of the world as a unit and not as factions.
What a great message, the natural boundaries. We should all keep that in mind down here. And I wanted to get back to your mother for just a moment. You said she was such an optimist, except when it came to the Cubs. So that'll be our wish for you and your mom, that this year will be the year of the Cubs.
Would be great, and I agree. Of course, there's always next year, and that's been our motto for going on 99 years now. And yeah, my mom was funny. She would the Cubs would be winning by a couple runs, and then in the 8th inning, the other team would move up a couple runs, and then she'd almost turn the TV up and go, "Well, they've lost again." And it was just funny to see her be a little bit pessimistic, probably just not wanting to get her hopes up.
Well, Dan, our thoughts are with you, with your mom, your entire family. Come on home soon. And Commander Peggy Whitson, our congratulations to you on such a job well done up there as Commander. Thanks to you all, and Happy New Year.
Very much, and Happy New Year to you, too.
Best wishes from the ISS.